Okay, we'll call this June 24th meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes, could everybody make sure their phones are turned off or turned down, please? Mr. Taylor, would you like to give the opening prayer?
Sure. Dear Lord, please allow all the citizens in this community to be safe this evening and during this hot weather that we're having. Stay hydrated. Please keep all of our citizens in mind in tonight's meeting when we're discussing the future of our city and making the best decision possible. In your name we pray.
Amen. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mr. Lawson?
Here.
Mr. Booth? Mr. Clement?
Here.
Ms. Sonic? Here. Mr. Duffy?
Here.
Mr. Flowers?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
I make a motion to excuse Mr. Booth from tonight's meeting.
Second. Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic? Yes. Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Flowers?
I would like to vote no, and I would like to preface that vote by saying that Mr. Booth has been, out of 13 meetings, Mr. Booth has missed 5. I know there are excused absences, and I have nothing against Mr. Booth, but I think we owe it to the citizens to be here and available for this council. So therefore, I do vote no.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes. Okay, I'm going to make a motion that we go into executive session under ORC 121.22G for personnel and legal matters, inviting in Mr. Kanjemi, Mr. Sampington, and Mr. Rowe.
Second.
Don't you have to amend the agenda first?
Ms. Sonic? Yes. Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Flowers?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Say don't do that.
I make a motion to return from executive session at 8:24.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic? Yes. Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Flowers?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
And for the record, we went into executive session at 7:11.
Mr. President, I motion that we instruct the city attorney to create a policy and procedure to allow council a minimum of 7 days to review contracts before approving. I second that motion.
Any council discussions? Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic? Yes. Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Flowers?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes. Did everyone receive the minutes from the last regular meeting on June 10th?
I was here.
Any corrections or additions? Motion to accept.
So moved. Second.
Ms. Sonic? Yes. Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Flowers?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Yes. Okay, moving on to the auditor treasurer report.
Good evening, City Council, the city manager, staff, residents, and interested parties. We're gonna start with the treasurer's report for May 2024. The treasurer sent his apologies. He was tied up at work. He's usually second shift anyhow, but couldn't get out of second shift today. So on page 1 of the treasurer's report, you'll see an explanation of account balances at the end of May, including the sweep account, the money market, as well as the certificate of deposit. These amounts add up to the bottom, $6,933,730.57. On the next page, you will see the record of investments, and that would be the money market account, as well as a certificate of deposit. You'll see the old CD, which matured on March 27th, as well as the new one. As well as their interest rate, you'll see total year-to-date interest, $64,000, $684.96. On the next 2 pages, you'll see, or this be page 3, the full accounting of all bank transactions in and out of the bank account that the treasurer found. And then of the book postings for my office, you will see it's highlighted on my copy. I don't see a highlight on yours, but at the very bottom, difference between the bank and the book, $0, 0 cents. So that's the treasurer's account. I do think he's using, I think he wanted me to mention this a meeting before, but on that last page, he is using a new organization to show council more detail on the revenue side. So those are our line items that we use in our office for revenue so that council can see it a little more detail. So that's the treasurer's report. The auditor's report. Can I steal your mouse? It's somewhere to go. So the mouse is acting a little bit, but let's see if we can get through it. So the auditor's report for May 2024. I'll start out with a quick high-level financial summary. Revenues for the month of May, $1,009,512.90. You'll see expenses there, $798,088.86. Kind of looks like 798 million. That should be a decimal, not a comma. We'd be beating the federal government in May, I think, for that amount. Year-to-date revenue, sorry, that's my mistake, just a typo there. I included in this report for the first time year-to-date in this section. It's included later, but I thought it was better here for everybody to see just where we're at for the month, as well as for the year. 5.4 versus 4.6. Major fund balances. All funds combined, 6.6 million, almost 6.7. The general fund at 1,143,150.03 cents, excuse me. 755,000 in the street funds, 255,000 capital improvement, and you can see water and sewer at 2 million and 1 million respectively. I've got a statement of cash position. This report's available. It was sent directly to everybody here on board, as well as available on the website, as well as revenue and expense reports to back it up. This just restates the information I just gave you, each fund's balance, what we spent and brought in for each fund for each month, and what we brought in and what we spent. As required by state law, House Bill 6 something. Credit card report. This is the credit card transactions for the city of Nelsonville for May. We're required to give this to council every month. Actually, somebody's required, but I volunteer each month to give it to the council. I'm not sure anybody else wants to. So you'll see some things on here. There's explanations below. I think I've got most of these memorized. You can see some lodging costs for training for the fire department, Microsoft account costs for the city. That's a monthly charge. So I see it every month. PayPal charges That's not actually PayPal. I believe it's an eBay purchase for equipment and uniform items like balls. Cisco is a training software bridge used in the utility department. You see batteries and PSI. Those are equipment. The city's website was renewed for 8 years, I believe. That's the GoDaddy charge. Briefly went down for an hour when it expired, but should have it for 8 years. That's one of those problems here at City Hall. We have them all the time, but we don't always talk about them. Somebody calls in and says, website's down. Who fixes that? And usually we say, well, I'm not exactly sure. It's not a problem that usually happens, but let's figure it out. So we figured it out with the help of Freedom Links. There's the payment for the month. Sam's Club, Save a Lot are concession stand charges, food and items for the concession stand. And there's Microsoft. You see the first one was actually in April 29th is when it first hit. May 29th would be May's. So a couple quick things I wanted to make sure to say in this room, because this is new for a lot of residents last year. And some folks were caught off guard. I want to make sure we don't have the same issue. If you owe income taxes for any reason, payment plan, you didn't pay them, you filed but forgot to send your check, you didn't file and your employer told us that you owed us money, any reason you owe the city money for income taxes, you will receive a quarterly notice. We're coming up on the end of Q2 this next week. So you will receive quarterly notices. Those will come in the mail. Please don't be upset. If you have questions, just call in. But it should be your balance divided by 4. And it should be itemized on what your balance is there. And basically why you're getting the notice. There are also letters going out. Council authorized this 2 meetings ago to individuals and entities that are required to file an income tax form, but have not done so for 2 years. So if you receive that letter, please don't throw it in the trash or think it's junk mail. If you believe it's a mistake, just call in. But this is the first time those letters have ever gone out in quite some time. Council authorized that. If you remember 2 meetings ago, I asked for your support, so there was consensus on it, and those will be going out. My last few small notices, well, I shouldn't say too small, but we can make them quick. First, I want to wish Robert Taylor happy birthday, his 57th birthday, 31-year employee of the city. He's currently off, enjoying that. And then just to update the council, in public, I represented the city at several local and statewide board meetings in May. The first time the city's been represented at some of these. They include OPERS, the Public Retirement Board meeting, the Deferred Compensation for the state, Ohio Deferred Compensation Board meeting. I felt both of those were important because Nelsonville incurs extraordinary costs for these pensions. They're the always in surveys across the state, public sector workers say the #1 reason they stay in public service is to serve the public. The #2 reason is the state pension benefit. It's constantly cited as the top benefit. It's also expensive, costs the taxpayers and the employees a lot. I thought it was important Nelsonville had a voice at those meetings, as the big cities often do, the big counties, but little villages rarely do. So I attended, and it was interesting. It was very long. It was 2 days. I wasn't there the full day, 2 days. I was Zoom on the second day, but it was very interesting, and I thank them for having me. Yeah.
Could I ask a question? Did you learn anything that was really that, we in Nelsonville might benefit from?
I learned, I don't want to down any other pension systems, but I would say generally, I learned OPERS is one of the strongest pension systems in the country, as well as in the state. There was a simultaneous board meeting across the street for another major pension system in the state, which has had a lot of controversy and is losing money and handing out major multi-million-dollar bonuses to staff. And if you're a teacher, you probably know what I'm talking about. If I can, I don't want to throw any pensions under the bus, but,
Too late.
so, I watched some of that on Zoom because there was some major statewide developments on that. I feel very fortunate to both be a member and also that the city is a member of Oakhurst, which meets many of its benchmarks right now and is considered stable for quite some time.
Thank you.
Good question. I was also at Athens County Workers Memorial Day, where they actually memorialized as well as many other employees who pass away on the job too, from the city of Nelsonville. So I was glad to be there. And the Ohio Ethics Commission had a deeper dive into ethics training, which I completed. Any questions? Wow, speechless. All right. I just want to say one last thing. If anybody wants this report or its supporting documents, it's on the website. Or ask for it. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Thank you. There is no mayor's court report. Moving on to citizens' comments. Please step to the podium.
Mr. President, do we need to approve the?
I'm sorry, yes. Thank you.
I'll motion that we approve the treasurer's report.
Second. I'll second that motion.
Ms. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Flowers?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Ms. Hunt? Yes.
A motion that we approve the auditor's report.
So moved.
Okay.
Treasurer, this was the other.
Yeah, no, I did. Mr. Flowers?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Ms. Hunt? Yes. Mr. Duffy?
Yes. Okay, so citizens' comments, please step to the podium, state your name, and you have 3 minutes. Okay, no comments tonight. Business and organizational comments, we have Krista Cummings here.
Alright, so my part's gonna end up being really short because Jane Forrest Redfern was able to come and is going to talk to you all as well. So I was not able to be here when you all voted to join the COG, so I just want to tell you that I'm super pleased that that is happening and really looking forward to having Nelsonville's voice represented. I have the letter that is needed for the SORT board to be able to vote to accept Nelsonville, which is the next step. And that meeting is going to be July 15th at 10 o'clock in the morning. And it's going to be in Nelsonville at the Foundation for Appalachian Ohio meeting room. The last step that you all need is to figure out who you're going to appoint to be on the board. So the legislative body needs to make that decision. And it's going to need to be either an elected official or an employee of the city. I'm eagerly awaiting the news of who you're going to appoint because that person will be one of my bosses once the transfer is complete between the nonprofit and the Council of Governments. So that is the last step that you all need to go ahead and join the COG. And then I was also going to be here to answer some questions about the parcel fee and the solid waste district plan, but Jane was available to come and it is the solid waste district thing. So
Yeah, I'm trying to reduce waste and I always hand out lots of it, so make sure you recycle all this because it's good old paper. My name is Jane Forrest Redfern. I'm the district director for the Athens Hopkins Solid Waste District. I'm going to be, I don't know if I can get it done in 3 minutes, but So the solid waste district is, governed by the 3 commissioners from Athens and 3 county commissioners from Hockey. And we also have a 15-member policy committee board that's made up of the two county commissioners, 2 township officials, 2 health commissioners or health department, environmental business representatives, and then citizens. And then there's a great, the tie person, 15 people. And they've been working since August of 22, so almost 2 years, listening about the problems about solid waste, illegal dumping, litter, recycling, what the future of the landfill from the haulers. We had folks, experts in compost that throughout our area. And just regular citizens brought the issue of here in Nelsonville that was brought up. After all of the discussions, we basically crunched a bunch of numbers. What we found is that the population in the district will pretty much stay the same, if not go down. And we then populated, using the population, what the generation rate of garbage will be in the future. And that is also gonna be flat. So what we have to do is basically figure out what we wanna do for the next 15 years. So as you know, the Athens Hockey and Recycling Center is evolving into the COG. All of its operations, the staff, and the equipment. But what will not remain with the COG or go to the COG will be the building. The Solid Waste District and Athens Hockey and Recycling Center both built the MRF. And it was back in 2016 when we separated that they gave us $1 million. And the jurisdictions in the district said you cannot raise any garbage fees. You have to spend all of your savings that you got from the recycling center. So the solid waste district is basically down to about the end of this year around $66,000. And my current budget's about between 500 and 600. And then I'm really good at writing grants, so you can't really put those in there because it's all in and out. But when the COG formed, the policy committee and we all thought about, well, what if we buy the recycling center? It's kind of like, right now, it's like, I have a pickup truck. You see it on the road when you drive down, unless I'm out in the field, which is a lot. But I don't have a recycling center. The fire engines have a place to park, but I'm in charge of recycling, and I don't have a recycling center. So if, God forbid, the COG would go down, we would be basically, up for grabs for where our recycling would go, and it would be all private haulers that would have to do it. And recycling is something that the district is in charge of. So the idea for the parcel fee came up was that what we could do is, if you have a recycling center, you can charge a parcel fee by having the county commissioners of each county vote for that. And then that money can go to any type of solid waste. So in the past, they could have used the parcel fee to do the landfill or water treatment facilities or sewage. It's a section of the Ohio Revised Code. So, but solid waste is one of the things that we can utilize. We can raise the generation fee and the tiered fee, which is an option. There's also a designation fee where we tell everybody they have to send their garbage. We don't have to tell anybody, 92% goes to the landfill down the street. But that's an option for us. Or we can utilize the parcel fee. So the policy committee, and thinking through, moving forward, trying to address all of the issues. Everything right now is so disposable. I can't tell you how many flat screen TVs we get at recycling days. I mean, things just aren't made the way they used to be made. And so we get a lot of materials that, that need to be recycled. So anyway, our management plan, which I can give you another presentation on what's in it, but there were specific questions about the parcel fee. Parcel fee will raise not only money to cover my basic budget, it will also cover buying the recycling center through a 10-year bond. And with that money, then we would then own the recycling center, and then we would then lease it to the Council of Governments. That way, it brings the cost of recycling down for everyone that's recycling. So this fee will be charged to only parcels that have one permanent, well, you have the flyer. I gave all my flyers away. It's the very bottom, that are improved or in process of being improved with at least one permanent, portable, or temporary building. So I have 3 parcels at my house. 2 of them are just woods, and 1 has our house. So I would pay for my house parcel, but the 2 that have no woods would be, they're not improved, they're just woods. We've improved them, but not in the tax sense. So anyone that has a parcel that would be charged $24 per year, that's $2 a month. And it would benefit us by buying a firehouse for the recycling program so that we will always have access to a facility that can manage our own recycling. We can expand it to be similar to what we had in Chansey, where people could literally bring anything and you could drop it off. That's what I'm trying to build up in Logan right now. But not for household materials. We have a MRF that separates all the materials, and that's what we would buy with the parcel fee. The other majority of the money, that's 400,000, 500,000 goes to my 22 drop-off places. And they're throughout the district, and we generate more household recycling than any one entity. Ohio University, City of Athens, we basically kind of embarrass them because we do such a good job at our drop-offs. So it's in our best interest and any community that recycles for the district to have some place. Otherwise, our materials will have to be taken and recycling costs will go up. So you say, why? I don't want to pay $24 a year for something that I don't use. Well, your neighbors use it. How many tires have I collected in the last year? 13 semi-trucks full of tires throughout this district. And they each pay 50 cents a piece because I got a grant for that. It's through those kind of programs that we can clean up our communities and make them a lot better. This gentleman right here just asked me, where can I take my air conditioner? And I said, you can bring it to me in Sutton Road and we'll take care of it for you. The thing is that people have stuff, and that's why I gave you my move on guide and the trail map, because those people don't know where to take any of this stuff. There are places, but if you take it to the recycling center, you can handle it and be able to create jobs and to be able to create a comprehensive circular economy here. But if we don't do the parcel fee, and you know what it's gonna be, $24, I have it for 10 years, and then after 10 years, when the bond's paid off, the parcel fee will go down to 20 or 18, depending on how much maintenance the center will need. But all of this will be voted on by the county commissioners, because they're the only ones that can vote. It doesn't require voters to vote on it. The legislators wanted, county commissioners to have the ability to be able to build infrastructure for the communities. Like the landfills back then and water treatment and sewer plants, such. So the other option is to practically double. I mean, right now our in-district fees are $4 in total between the generation and tiered fee. It would go up to $7. And so when your hauler goes to the landfill, our fees that are on top of the landfill fees and the state fees will double. And that will give the haulers, the landfill, the opportunity to double their rates. Or whatever rates. We have no control over what people charge. But you will know through the parcel fee how much you're gonna pay for the next next 10 years. So, we have to do something. The district has to be funded. The county commissioners said I have to stand on my own 2 feet. The policy committee understood that. And we just felt that the $24 was a lot more equitable than to let the public sector or private sector out there decide how much we're gonna pay. And we won't have a recycling center. Yes.
Would you explain in detail about the parcels? What a parcel is considered? What is on the parcel against nothing on the parcel?
It's just like I have 2 parcels on my property that my husband and I own that have only woods. And the auditor declares, maybe the auditor should answer this question, the county auditor does this, but basically if you pay, as I said on the bottom, I should memorize this, shouldn't I? At least one permanent, portable, or temporary building that's improved or in the process of being improved. So if you have woods, and there's no buildings in it, you will not be charged. But if you have a house, then you will be charged $24.
If you have a bunch of apartments on land,
All right, depending on how many parcels the apartments are on, usually it will be $24.
okay, so there's no extra money for, okay, that's what I wanted to make sure that everyone understood.
It's not individual apartments, it's not, if the apartment building is on one parcel, then it will be charged $24. Yes.
I think maybe what you should explain is what's considered a parcel. Is that the property that the city parcels out for you to put a house on?
Yeah, the parcel is, when they do zoning and they lay out all of the different housing units,
That's the parcel. So
that's
if
a
you-
parcel.
If you own 2 parcels.
If you own 2 parcels,
With like myself, I have a garage on the back of my property, so that would be, I pay taxes on that.
yes,
So that would be
one
48
parcel, yeah,
Yeah, and then my house would be another one.
so that would be 48,
Yeah,
yeah.
so there's where the
Yeah, a lot of people, they have their farmhouse and then they have their barn, and if
Yeah,
they're on separate parcels, so my advice would be, if you're gonna build something, make sure it's on the same parcel.
That said, if you've got a barn and a house on a single parcel, it's still just the $24.
Right, no, I understand
Yeah.
that, I understand that. I mean, but if you're paying taxes on a property or a building,
Yes.
wouldn't that be considered a parcel?
Yes, that is.
If you
And you can actually go to the auditor's website and find out, put your name in there, and all of your parcels will come. And then it will actually say in your tax bill if it's improved or not and how much you're paying. Like I still pay for my parcel fee. I pay taxes on the regular land, but it's not anywhere near my house
Right.
taxes. Yes.
Was there consideration given to, you have one parcel if you had 2, 3, 4, that the more you had, the price could have
Oh,
been cheaper.
yes, we went to the prosecutor's office and said, we have this great idea. If, you know, if somebody has 4 parcels and it's only one house or one family and it's a farm, can we exempt? There's no exemptions.
Okay.
And it was the first question we asked when I met with that Hocking County auditor.
Okay.
And believe me, that was the number one thing I really wanted to see if we could do, but it's state law, so we can't change that.
So if you have a house that runs across 4 parcels, you're gonna pay on all 4 parcels, because the house runs across it.
Wow, that's a big house.
That's a big house.
Well, but see, Nelsonville, I don't know about the rest of the county,
Yeah,
Nelsonville was set up,
neighborhood
a lot of the
structures should be worried about
parcels were set up for more like trailers. See, they're narrow lots, but long. So, you know, you can easily have a ranch style house go across 4 parcels really easy. So I think that's the challenge that, you know, some of us will face. And then, you know, then are you looking at getting a surveyor to combine those parcels, and how much is that gonna cost you? Right, you know, yeah, so it is, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
So I appreciate the question, because I think Nancy, I brought it up in a meeting, because I think Nancy might have been thinking of the question I had, because I actually have an apartment, you know, where there's 8 parcels there. There's 8 parcels chopped up on a little tiny property. And literally, I've got a parcel that's this big that I pay $1.56 twice a year, $1.56 for
is
it.
it improved?
And it's on the corner of the building,
Right.
is on it. And I'm gonna pay $24 on that. That's one,
Well,
like,
is it improved?
it's got a corner of a building on it. That's,
Okay.
I mean, that was built in 1973.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't, you know, but I didn't build, I didn't improve it, so it'll probably be considered improved. So that's the challenge that, you know, I'm not opposed to helping, you know,
No,
provide for.
I know, money, I mean,
But
I
it's-
don't wanna have to raise any taxes. I mean, I wish the person that did the plan before I came on board 3 years ago would have planned ahead. But no, basically, you know, here we are 5 years later and we have no money and we have to do something. And it's state law that we do something. And we just felt that would be more equitable for everyone if we charged $24 as opposed to leaving it up to the free market to decide how much. But, you know, each county commission, they're gonna vote on it. If one votes yes and one votes no, then the generation and tiered fees will have to go up. That's the choice. So we, you know, this 15-member commission, they voted all yes. Your city manager was here and witnessed, them all voting yes for it. So it wasn't a split vote. They felt that it was the best thing to do for the district. Township folks, health department folks, county commissioners, they both voted yes. So thank you for having me. The solid waste management plan, is going to be out for public comment. It's gonna be on my website. I can send a link to your city manager to share it with you. So if you wanna read 200 pages of data and plans, I welcome some of your comments. And then we do have a public hearing, a week from tomorrow at the public library here in Nelsonville on the parcel piece specifically. So we wanna hear everybody's opinion. You know, if you think it's a good idea, if you don't think it's a good idea, we want people to voice their
You
concerns.
said a week from tomorrow?
Yeah, June 2nd.
No, July 2nd.
Oh, sorry, July 2nd. Yeah, I'm still in May. I don't know what happened. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, have any committees met since the last, council meeting?
Mr. President, Parks and Recreation met. And we had some board members, the committee members there, and a dog park board member as well. We discussed the use of Crabtree Field, hopefully being able to see some more utilization for that. It appears that we'll hopefully, have some discussion with the, Nelsonville York High School next year, because it sounds like they're gonna be redoing their baseball diamonds, so there's a good chance that the high school, will be utilizing Crabtree for, their, home games. And, I suggested that if, hopefully this works out, that this will happen, and I suggested that, Nelsonville do, throwback jerseys for their home games, using Greyhound uniforms. I thought that would be fun. I think it'd be pretty cool. Also, there was discussion, I don't remember his name, Mr. Flowers was there maybe, but Mr. Jared is what I call him, but I don't know his last name, I think. But, from the Talking College, Tudor? I don't know, I don't want to say that, I'll call him Mr. Jared. So we're gonna invite him to the next Parks and Rec meeting. He works with Talking College, he's a VP over there, and there's been some dialogue opening up again about utilization of Holly Field and potentially Crabtree for softball and soccer. We also discussed Dora. There was a couple events that occurred the last couple of weeks up in Lancaster and Athens, and we were really hoping that Nelsonville would go ahead and get the application put through, so that the state knows that we're going to take part in that. Nelsonville City Pool, I did talk with Leslie. She was not able to attend the meeting, but she just had some concerns about the current legislation we have about the pool, because we charge $150. It states on our ordinance we charge $150 for a pool party during the day. And but like Nelsonville and Logan actually have rooms that you can rent during the day for that. We don't really have that, so she had concerns about having pool parties during the day. And also Silver Sneakers, because it says we are taking Silver Sneakers, but we're actually not signed up for the program. So we need to get signed up with the program. So I did mention that to the city manager. So hopefully he can figure out what we need to do to be able to achieve that. We discussed, we had some Little League discussion, Little League talks there as well. And the Little League Youth League is putting on a co-ed softball tournament at Poly Field on July 20th and 21st. There's already quite a few teams signed up, and more teams are, they're looking for more teams to sign up. It just sounds like a lot of fun. So we're pretty excited about that. Casey Cox was here, discussed some of the success they've recently had with the dog park board. They got a $2,500 community grant. They got a NatureWorks grant of $21,349. A grant from this, I think it was from a Senate bill for $139,731, and then $250,000 from House bill, but that's wasn't entirely for the dog park. It was also for city improvements. And then there was some discussion about from the dog park too, about the type of gating that they need, the gauge of the wires, or the gauge of their fencing, and the height of their fencing. So they've got a lot of things that they're working on. It sounds like there's some progress coming through there. There was a concern that they'd come up with the dog park down on the east end, there, that we don't really have any crosswalks currently. So I think that's going to be a greater discussion potentially with our street committee as well, about maybe creating some crosswalks down there at the Y, because there's some sidewalks on Canal or on Chestnut Street, but not on Canal Street, and trying to just be able to allow people to safely get to the dog park. And I think that pretty much wraps it up. Thanks.
We had a finance committee meeting where we discussed the staffing ordinance. We discussed the purchase of a new fire truck. It's a demo truck that we're getting for basically half price. It's basically taking over the payment of the old one. We are getting rid of our 25-year-old ladder truck. Pumper truck, sorry. The 25-year-old pumper truck will be gone. And it's a really good deal all the way around. So We will have a new truck it was a demonstrator model, basically at half the price. And hopefully we will get our appropriations for that through. We have city audit results. The city audit results came back. We are green in every area except for one. A great improvement over the prior years. We had some appropriations come through for some funding or some grants and stuff that we received from the fire department, and there was about $500 for something else.
CPR class
Yeah.
fees for the fire department, and then, a lift station repair for the sewer station in Fulton.
Yes. Yeah. And also under the staffing ordinance, just so everybody knows, the code enforcement position is now going to be full-time. Those who don't know, Mr. Riegert is our code enforcement officer. So he will now be full-time. And that's all we have. That was the key of the staffing ordinance.
Okay, and judiciary met also, correct?
We had a judiciary meeting, it, came in, we discussed the re-implementation of mayor's court starting next month. We have an ordinance that we're voting on now, tonight, I believe. We also, discussed coming up with procedures on a timeline that we fill our vacancies. How the procedure the council goes in order to correct it and have a timely manner. That's basically it.
Thank you. All right, department updates. I'm not sure who we have tonight. Not tonight, okay. So moving on to legislation, I want to make a statement before we start. There will be an opportunity when an ordinance or something is introduced and read for citizens' comments. You have to step to the podium, make your comment. When citizens' comments are closed, then we move on to council discussion, at which point there will be no more citizens' comments. When council discussion is closed, we move on to the roll call. So with that, we'll start with ordinance 4324, an ordinance amending the 2024 appropriations ordinance. If someone would like to introduce it, I'll introduce it.
An ordinance amending the 2024 appropriations ordinance. Whereas the 2024 appropriations need to be amended. Whereas appropriations of $500 into the general fund number 100, line item 100-200-40010 for operating supplies, CPR class costs for the fire department if necessary. Whereas appropriations of $36,000 into the sewer fund number 750 to line item 750-760-70120 for sewer collection improvement. It's a large repair to the silt pump at the lift station between Nelsonville and Brookville, Murray City, and Carbon Hill. Now therefore be ordained by the council of the city of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio as follows. The 2024 appropriations ordinance is amended to appropriate from the unappropriated balance to the following funds. Appropriations in the sum of $500 from the unappropriated balance of the general fund number 100 to line item number 100-200-40010 for operating supplies, and appropriations in the sum of $36,000 from the unappropriated balance of the sewer fund number 750 to line item number 750-760-70120 for sewer collection improvement. The total unappropriated balance is decreased by said amount. The total appropriations in each respective fund mentioned above are increased by said amount. The city auditor is hereby authorized to submit changes to the city's certificate of resources pursuant to this ordinance to the Athens County Budget Commission. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon its adoption, duly enacted by council on second reading the 8th day of July 2024.
Okay, Any citizens' comments? Any council discussion? Moving on to ordinance 4424, an ordinance establishing a policy on rewards and rebates programs for city purchasing process. If someone would like to introduce it.
I'll introduce it.
Whereas the city from time to time makes purchases from vendors, retailers, or wholesalers who have customer rewards and or rebate programs. Whereas the city from time to time maintains a credit card and or other payment card account from one or more payment card companies, and such credit card and or payment card account may have customer rewards programs. Whereas section 102.03D and B of the Ohio Revised Code states that no public official or employee may procure anything of value or receive any personal benefit as a result of a public entity purchase. Whereas counsel for the city deems it necessary to declare that any and all benefits earned through any such customer reward and or rebate programs are the sole and exclusive property of the city of Nelsonville. Whereas the city needs to have in place a policy regulating the use of such customer rewards and or rebate programs to prevent improper use of public property belonging to the city of Nelsonville. Now therefore be ordained by the council of the city of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio as follows. Definition. The following definitions shall apply to this ordinance. A, anything of value includes any benefit, including money and discounts on future purchases as a reward program incentive from a provider of goods or services. B, provider of goods or services includes any vendor, retailer, wholesaler, or payment card company. C, public official means any elected or appointed officer or employee of the city of Nelsonville, whether in a temporary or permanent capacity, and includes but is not limited to legislators, judges, and law enforcement officers. Anything of value associated with or obtained through a customer rewards and or rebate program of any provider related or to or accrued as a result of a purchase by or on behalf of the city of Nelsonville for goods or services for the use of the city of Nelsonville is the sole and exclusive property of the city of Nelsonville. A public official is prohibited from using or attempting to use anything of value of the city of Nelsonville for any personal use. For purposes of this ordinance, using or attempting to use includes includes applying for any rebate or coupon or discount. Unless otherwise permitted by law, no public official may use a personal rewards account to purchase any goods or services for the municipal purpose of the city of Nelsonville. For purposes of this ordinance, an incidental, irregular, or emergency purchase for which a public official is entitled to reimbursement of costs by the city of Nelsonville shall not fall within this prohibition. For credit, rewards, and rebate programs, the city auditor shall be solely responsible for and have sole authority to apply for and process on behalf of the city of Nelsonville any application for any rewards and or rebates with any vendor, retailer, wholesaler, and or payments card company. The city manager and the city auditor shall have authority to jointly issue and implement regulations reasonably necessary and proper to carry this ordinance into effect. Such regulations shall not be inconsistent with the provisions of this ordinance and shall have full legal effect. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon its adoption and when enacted by council on second reading the 8th day of July 2024.
Okay, any citizens' comments? Council discussion? Ordinance 4524, an ordinance reinstituting and establishing Nelsonville Mayor's Court.
I'll introduce it.
Thank you.
Whereas Nelsonville City Charter Section 3.01 provides the city shall have all powers to which a city is entitled under the Constitution and laws of the state of Ohio, either expressly or by implication, as fully and completely those specifically enumerated in this charter. Whereas ORC Chapter 1905 authorizes a municipal corporation having a population of 200 or more to establish a mayor's court and sets forth the jurisdiction of such mayor's court. Whereas Nelsonville City Charter, Section 4.09 provides that the president of council shall preside over mayor's court, and the vice president of council shall preside when the president of council is absent. Whereas Nelsonville Mayor's Court has been recently discontinued and has not held sessions for some months. Whereas Mayor's Court provides a timely and efficient forum to hear and decide cases arising under local Nelsonville law and such other cases as the Mayor's Court has jurisdiction to hear and decide. Whereas it is in the best interest of the city and in the furtherance of justice and of the rights of the people of Nelsonville that Nelsonville Mayor's Court be reinstituted and established so that Nelsonville Mayor's Court may hold session to hear and decide such cases as it has jurisdiction to hear and decide. Now therefore be ordained by the Council of the City of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio as follows. Nelsonville Mayor's Court established. A, the Nelsonville Mayor's Court is hereby established. Nelsonville Mayor's Court shall have full jurisdiction to determine and decide any case falling within the jurisdiction of a mayor's court for the City of Nelsonville as provided by Ohio law. B, the president of council shall serve as mayor and presiding officer over Nelsonville Mayor's Court. C, the vice president of council shall serve as vice mayor. In the absence of the mayor, the vice mayor shall serve as presiding officer over Nelsonville Mayor's Court. D, council shall set the compensation of the presiding officer by separate ordinance. Mayor's Court Clerk. A, the position of Mayor's Court Clerk is hereby established. B, the Mayor's Court Clerk shall have such duties as are set forth in applicable law. C, council shall set the compensation for the Mayor's Court Clerk by separate ordinance. Compensation for the Mayor's Court Clerk shall not be based on the number of citations issued or convictions entered. The Nelsonville City Attorney shall serve as the prosecuting attorney of Nelsonville Mayor's Court. The mayor shall have the authority to promulgate local rules governing procedure in Nelsonville Mayor's Court. Such local rules shall not conflict with the Ohio law or rules of court. The mayor may delegate the vice mayor to the authority to promulgate such local rules. The ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon its adoption, duly enacted by council on second reading the 8th day of July 2024.
Any citizens' comments?
Yes. Can I just say?
Yes, you're fine.
I'm going back a few years, but my understanding was in Mayor's Court, there has to be a attorney certified and either the prosecutor or the magistrate. Mr. Robe, are you going to take, or are you certified to be that prosecutor?
Yes, so the city attorney by ordinance is the city prosecutor.
Before, a city attorney could not be the magistrate or the
I'm
prosecutor.
not serving as the magistrate.
Pardon?
I'm not serving as the magistrate, only as the prosecutor.
Okay, but I'd like you to double check that, because before, the city attorney could not be the prosecutor at Mayor's Court.
Bob Toy was our prosecutor,
Yes.
Mayor's Court without a problem.
He may have had that certification.
He does. So,
Well, did he? I don't know, because I couldn't get that public record. Did you have a mayor's court certificate?
So the prosecutor is not required to have the same certificate as the magistrate. They're two separate roles.
Every training I went to, the lawyers, each lawyer had a certificate for mayor's court.
Right, but I'm not the magistrate, I'm just the prosecutor.
Same thing.
No, it's not.
Well, those two things may be different, but
the
Dick Hedges
certification.
was our prosecutor, and he had to have training. He had to have it,
So
so let's change.
there are rules regulating the attorneys who serve as magistrates. Those are separate rules from those regulating the conduct of attorneys as an attorney. The prosecutor is just acting as an attorney, not as a magistrate. So the rules regulating the magistrate don't apply to the prosecutor. So for example, I serve as prosecutor for a number of municipalities in the Athens County Municipal Court. All that's required is just that I'm a licensed attorney. I don't have to do any additional training to serve as a prosecutor. That's different if I were to serve as a magistrate, because a magistrate is a judicial officer, and so therefore under Ohio law is subject to additional training, certificates, etc.
Mr. Hedges also was the magistrate for other village mayor courts in the county as well. That's also why he had that sort of training instead of just the regular prosecutor.
Okay, any council discussion? All right. Ordinance 4624, an ordinance establishing a schedule of court costs for Nelsonville Mayor's Court.
I introduce it.
Thank you.
Whereas council has established Nelsonville Mayor's Court to hear such cases as fall within the jurisdiction under Ohio law for a mayor's court for the city of Nelsonville. Whereas there is a need for council to establish a schedule of court costs for Nelsonville Mayor's Court. Now therefore be it ordained by the council of the city of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio as follows. The schedule of court costs for the Nelsonville Mayor's Court as set forth in Exhibit A attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference is hereby adopted by council. The mayor's court clerk shall make the schedule of court costs available to any person who requests a copy. Council hereby finds and determines that all formal actions taken relative to the adoption of this ordinance were taken in an open meeting of the Nelsonville City Council, and that all deliberations of council and of its committees, if any, which resulted in formal action were taken in meetings open to the public in full compliance with applicable legal requirements. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon its adoption, duly enacted by council on second reading, the 8th day of July, 2024.
Okay, any citizens' comments? Any council discussion? All right. Ordinance 4724.
I introduce it.
Thank you. An ordinance establishing a bond schedule for Nelsonville Mayor's Court. Whereas council has established Nelsonville Mayor's Court to hear such cases as fall within the jurisdiction under Ohio law for a mayor's court for the city of Nelsonville. Whereas there is a need for council to establish a bond schedule for Nelsonville Mayor's Court. Now therefore be it ordained by the council of the city of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio as follows. The bond schedule for Nelsonville Mayor's Court as set forth in Exhibit A, attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference, is hereby adopted by council. The mayor's court clerk shall make the bond schedule available to any person who requests a copy. Council hereby finds and determines that all formal actions taken relative to the adoption of this ordinance were taken in an open meeting of the Nelsonville City Council, and that all deliberations of council and of its committees, if any, which resulted in formal action, were taken in meetings open to the public in full compliance with applicable legal requirements. This ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon its adoption, duly enacted by council on second reading the 8th day of July, 2024.
Okay, any citizens' comments? Council discussion? All right. Ordinance 4824, an ordinance approving the collective bargaining agreement between the city of Nelsonville and the Fraternal Order of Police, Ohio Labor Council. Someone like to introduce it?
I'll introduce it.
Thank you.
An ordinance approving a collective bargaining agreement between the city of Nelsonville and the Fraternal Order of Police, Ohio Labor Council Incorporated for covered members of the Nelsonville Police Department and authorizing the city manager to enter into the collective bargaining agreement. Whereas the city of Nelsonville has recently concluded negotiations for a collective bargaining agreement for covered members of the Nelsonville Police Department for the period January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2026. Whereas council desires to authorize the city manager to enter into the collective bargaining agreement on behalf of the city. Now therefore be it ordained by the council of the city of Nelsonville, Athens County, Ohio as follows. The collective bargaining agreement between the city of Nelsonville and the Fraternal Order of Police, Ohio Labor Council Incorporated for covered members of the Nelsonville Police Department, attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and incorporated herein by reference, is hereby approved. The city manager is hereby authorized to enter into the collective bargaining agreement on behalf of the city. Council hereby finds and determines that all formal actions taken relative to the adoption of this ordinance were taken in an open meeting of the Nelsonville City Council, and that all deliberations of council and of its committees, if any, which resulted in formal action, were taken in meetings open to the public in full compliance with applicable legal requirements. 5 members of council voting to dispense with the 2 readings of this ordinance. The rules are hereby suspended for this ordinance, and this ordinance is hereby enacted on first reading to ORC 731.15 and Nelsonville City Charter Sections 4.09 through 4.11. This ordinance is hereby passed as an emergency measure pursuant to ORC 731.30, Article 4, Section 4.09 through 4.11, as an emergency in the operation of the city government, as the city needs to provide for the employment and compensation of members of its police department, so that the city can continue to provide police services and is necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, safety, morals, or welfare of the city, and this ordinance shall be in full force and effect upon its adoption. Duly enacted by council on first reading the 21st day of June, 2024.
Okay, I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Flowers?
Yes.
Okay, motion to adopt. So I'm sorry. Any citizens' comments on this ordinance?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Is this just starting negotiations or is this finishing negotiations?
To finish,
You're finished?
to adopt the agreement.
What was some of the benefits or what was the results? What was the salary increases?
The main thrust of the FOP contract between Nelsonville and our officers will become in more compliance with Nelsonville's policing rules and regulations versus standard rules and regulations. Salary increases were moderate and
What's moderate? What's the percentage?
the final percentage rating was over 15%.
15% salary increases for police officers?
For the base salary, yes.
Are you in those negotiations and did you figure out revenue and how that's gonna be covered?
I wasn't invited to the negotiations. I would have loved to participate. The finance committee did ask for what the budget impact would be, and I will have that for the next meeting.
Any other questions about the contract? Yes.
Just between listening to the 2 of them, if he doesn't know how the budget impact's going to be, does that mean it's just automatically going to be
accepted tonight, or are you gonna review that in basis of how, of what?
I will have the auditor officially review. I've reviewed it many times. And I'll give you more information in my city manager's report, but I can tell you, we can more than afford this at this time. It's way overdue. The officers are very qualified. We finally have the policing force that we need for the future projects in the city that we want to do. It's a fair and equitable contract compared to what all police and law enforcement is getting in the state of Ohio. Okay, so the average has been a 16% increase this year. We'll look it up. Okay. Even correction officers got a 17% increase in the state of Ohio. Okay. The FOP is a great union to be a part of. And just with the moderate changes they've made to our policing rules and laws and activities, it's going to be a tremendous benefit to us. I'm very satisfied with it. I'm okay.
I was just asking in regard to the.
No, it's fine. I'll get into some more detail in my manager's report here shortly. Just give me a few minutes to look at it.
Any other citizens' comments? Council discussion? Okay, motion to adopt?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Ms. Sonic,
Yes.
Mr. Duffy,
Yes.
Mr. Flowers,
Yes.
Mr. Hill.
Yes. Okay, ordinance 4824 passes. Okay, moving on to city manager's report. Mr. Jimmy.
Good evening, council and citizens, and thank you for your time tonight. I know it's been a long night. We'll try to make this report a little quicker. Mr. Taylor already discussed what I was going to discuss with our relationship with Hocking College and the meeting that I had with Jared Tudor and Mr. Flowers had a similar meeting of discussion of projects. Use of our fields went very well. And thank you for that, Mr. Taylor. I appreciate you mentioning that. Same thing with the pool. Mr. Taylor also referenced the conversation that I recently had with our pool manager. Things are doing very well with the pool and he'll be in the other programs that were mentioned. A lot of people have questions about the dog park. That was also mentioned, and all the funding was mentioned also. The funding's been approved from the state and all these other entities. As it appears in our budget, the auditor will let me know, and then we'll start getting together with the engineering firm and planning the actual projects. The field for the dog park has already been cleared. The grass has already been planted. Things are looking very well for that. Mr. Dunphy also mentioned about the pumper truck. The exact price will be $579,000, which is quite a find for a truck that's worth $1.2 million, which I verified that Athens paid for their pumper truck this year. I was very happy with that. The appropriations for the sewer plant and the lift stations were already discussed, and hats off to those folks because the original quote for a brand new lift station motor was $86,000. So our plant manager and our service director were able to find a price of $36,000 to actually have that rebuilt. Very happy about that. A lot of people have been asking questions about the paving that we're doing right now and restoration of the streets. And I want to thank the citizens for being patient through our construction phase for the water line and the sewer lines. And I've approved 10 different projects for McKee Paving to do this. I think I mentioned it before. 3 of them have been done already. And let me go through these real quick. East Franklin Street from Fort to Washington. William to Frederick Street, a 2-inch overlay. Pine Grove, a 2-inch overlay between Canal and Franklin Street. 2-inch mill and 2-inch overlay for College Street. Edwards, a 2-inch overlay, Edward Street. Fort Street, a 2-inch overlay. John Street Alley, 2-inch overlay between Frank and Edward Street. John Street, a 2-inch overlay from Williams to Edward Street. And alley at the end of Frank Street that leads to Edward Street. Frank Street, a 2-inch overlay itself. And we're currently doing a combined layover for Bessemer Road, which we're sharing in conjunction with York Township. And a 2-inch overlay for Riverside Drive. And the final one for Elm Street overlay for Bessemer Street and 12th Street alleyways. Oh, the last one here is the Carbon Hill Brookville Road to 12th Street over by Bessemer Road also. Okay. Which ones have we completed already?
Edward Street,
Edward Street?
the alley between Frank and Edward,
Okay.
and then the alley at the end of Frank Street that comes back up Edwards is complete. That's not counting any of the paving that's going on for the project, which is all of Franklin Street from the hospital to Fort Street.
Okay.
Fort Street from Franklin to Scott Street, the one-way Pleasant View.
Okay.
And that's picking up at Verity and going up Pleasant View under the viaduct. We're not doing Scott Street's not getting done right now because that's part of phase 4 sewer. So there's no sense in paving it, turn around, tear it right back up. They are gonna do a patch down through there. Burke Boulevard is getting patched because next spring is the big project where Canal Street and Burke Boulevard is getting done.
Short Street, Conner Street, right?
Short Conner's getting done. Conner's gonna be done clear down to Franklin.
Thank you, Service Director. Next topic is DORA, the designated outdoor refreshment area, which kind of directly relates to the current passage of the last ordinance about the police contract and the addition of additional funds. With this plan that we have, the state and this particular agency, okay, which is the Department of Commerce, asks each and every city to come up with their own plan for this designated outdoor refreshment area. This includes the support of law enforcement with a minimum, and we already have a draft ordinance written up, with a minimum of 3 to 4 officers present at all times during time period of 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. And of course, that's going to require additional policing for however many days we decide to do these projects and how we put this together and what streets and the square and all the things that go along with it. So with that in mind and with them adding value to the city as we start to put these public projects on, it's very important that we retain a good police department. We currently have 11 officers.
Yes.
Correct? 11 officers. I guess one of the biggest, I could say, I don't want to call it a flaw, but I can't come up with a different word, is that special duties for police officers, whether it be the K-9 officer or a special officer that we have for the schools, basically, those are all now special duty positions. The FOP was good enough to help us with the wording and putting that together. Why is that a consideration? Because it's a liability for the city. So no longer will there be separate contracts, there'll be services provided. The example is when we do policing for Hookville, we charge a fee for that and then they pay the city for that. And that's exactly how we'll be doing the special duties in the future. It's very difficult to compete with our sister cities and retaining good people anyway. I'm hoping this is an answer for that. We have a great group of people in all our departments, from utilities to service, to police to fire. And we've done a great job in collecting the fees and adding value to the city. I'll just say this. 4 years ago, this city only had $80,000 in its savings account. I think Taylor Saperton, Michael Mullane have done a great job with monies that have come in, the investments we've had. Now the city is over $6.7 million. I'm sorry, is there a question?
Yes.
$80,000?
$86,000 in carryover
In
is what we had in the general fund,
Okay,
and now we
you
have
said
1 point-
savings.
but we have 1.2 million.
Okay, I'll state that correctly. Carry over in a second. Okay. Today, with a budget of $6.7 million, we have $3.5 million in savings. At an interest rate at getting over 5% interest. Very happy and very pleased with that. Because as Mr. Dumpy pointed out, we got all greens except for one area, and that was basically in the discussion of our assets in the city. We're kind of light in our assets, and I'm pleased to say that we've, with the addition of new fire trucks, police vehicles, service equipment from backhoes to dump trucks, that is now going to be in compliance here shortly with the assets that we've been short of here in the city. That's all I have to say about that. Any questions about it? Anything else that I can answer?
I have a question on the 4th Street project. It says here on the announcement that it will be closed on Wednesday for milling. Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday and Thursday for milling. And you said in your statement that was just gonna get a 2-inch overlay. So are they milling it or are they overlaying it on Wednesday?
Most of the time, it's always a good idea to mill the road before you pave it, so. Estimate, it takes what, about 2 days to mill the road, Jason, and then about 2 days to pave it?
Yeah. So they're milling it on Wednesday. Milling it on Wednesday and Thursday.
I've been asked to come up with exact timelines. It's pretty difficult for us to do, but I will try to put a better time schedule together. I want to say by the end of fall, we should have most of this work done. What do you think, Jason?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Is there a special provision for the people on that street there that usually park there, there's somewhere else they can park? I didn't know if the city had anything that was just kind of more convenient. Okay.
I don't know. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any council questions for the city manager? Okay. Moving on to good of the order. I'll start tonight. I just want to remind everyone that the second meeting of July and August for council meetings, there will not be one, and that's per the charter. That's all I have. Ms. Sonic?
I have nothing. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Mr. Dumpy?
I come to my attention, there was a house fire over the last few days. In the Nelsonville PD, or Nelsonville Fire Department, Murray City, York. Logan and Ward, it was a big one, wasn't it? I just want to tell you guys, thank you for your dedicated efforts for our city and our surrounding area. And that's it.
Well, Mr. Dumpy, I'm glad you brought that up, Mr. President. I have one more addition to my report. And since firefighter Volkenberg is here, Austin, would you stand up, please? Yes, sir. Okay. I really want to thank you for your current standing that you have, and I would like to make a recommendation, by the recommendation of your chief, basically that you be assigned to the part-time roster for the Nelsonville Fire Department. And I'd like to ask the council to consider that at this time. Would do that, please.
Okay, I'll make a motion to add Austin Valkenberg as a volunteer firefighter, or to part-time roster, I'm sorry.
I'll second.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Flowers?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yeah.
Is there anyone else in the fire service here but you today for that? You're the only one today, right?
For here, yes.
Okay, thank you. And welcome aboard.
Thank you, sir.
He didn't look like he's out of kindergarten.
I will be honest, I just graduated high school with fire too. And here I am 6 months on the department since I got my fire card in January.
Nice.
And already making progress.
All right, Mr. Flower?
I think there was some discussion about Mr. Jimmy tomorrow. Did we miss that, or did I miss it, or was I asleep? Weren't you gonna discuss that, Mr. Conjuni?
If there's any questions from the audience, yes, I will. If there's no questions, I will take questions personally, and you know what my email is and my phone number is.
Wow. You need a question from me?
Yep. I have nothing.
Okay, Mr. Taylor?
We have the 4th of July coming up. I wish everybody a great, wonderful, happy Independence Day, but please be safe. Also with the temperatures out there, please be hydrated, and for those pet owners, please be responsible and don't lock your animals in the car. That's all I have.
Kids.
Okay, Mr. Moss?
Or your
I
kids.
have nothing this time.
Okay, with that, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second that.
There's.
I'll have it.
Hold on.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, hold on.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're leaving.
Yes.
Jump the gun there.
Now-
I thought it was unanimous.